And then it will say, if this tank is 0, or whatever we set it at, 4 gallons or something it needs to fill, it will say, I've got pressure, I need water, open this solenoid valve.
Okay.
This solenoid valve opens, fills the tank. When it fills, it says, I'm full. Shut the valve and maybe send a flash on the marquee that says tank full, tank full, tank full, and then go back to the streaming mark, whatever's on there. Okay. Flow sensors. Okay, the flow sensor is again this thing that counts the number of ounces that we need, and every time it reaches 16 ounces, it says to the video screen on top, you have just saved a bottle from landfill or something. I don't know what it just wants to save it.
Okay.
But we need to send a signal. And we also, we want to know when the cart is on DC only. If they're going to operate it on DC, we want to be able to know that that's happening. So that when it's unplugged or is not plugged in, then it's working on DC and it's starting to drain power from the batteries. Okay. And now also, I don't know, I think there's, you know, the little battery thing on your phone that has the little bars. Mm-hmm. We probably want to do something that tells how much power you have left.
Sure.
So we probably want to do something like that. And we also want to know when we're charging the battery. In other words, I think, like in an RV, if you have an RV, it has a converter in it. And you plug it in and it actually powers all the 12-volt stuff and then charges the batteries at the same time. Yeah, so we probably want that 100 to 240-volt converter that does that. Now here's something I'm not sure about, and this is a drain pan sensor. Basically, when you set this bottle on here and you push the fill, this is going to overflow at times. People are going to dump stuff in there, and this drain pan is going to fill up at some time and need to be changed. I'm not sure if we can put a sensor on there or not, because it's only going to be like this deep. So
when do you want to know? When do you want an indication when it's full?
No, when it's like maybe 3/4 or something, we put some kind of little sensor in here that
you could do like a little capacitance.
Okay, if we can do that, we'd like to do it. She's asked for that, and I told her I didn't know if we could do it or not. So, okay, where are we at? Tank full, we've already done that. 100 240 volts we've done. Oh, okay, vent charges. This
so
is
by 100 to 240 volts, are you talking about charging the batteries, or is...
No, we want to be able to plug the converter into either, like for instance, they want to use this in Europe. We want to sell it in Europe, where they have 220. We want to get automatically to, you know, like the computer now, it's 100 to 240 volts, or your cell phone, whenever you plug it in, you plug it into anything, and it still charge the battery at the same secondary voltage. Mm-hmm. So we want probably that to happen on the converter.
So you want to operate this across the line at either voltage or battery operated?
Yes.
Either way?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it can be a lot like a laptop, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The converter will be, I don't know what size we need. Again, we have not calculated all the power.
Yeah, we're going to have to do it like, you know, power consumption,
Yeah.
on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, we don't even know, like, kind of the scope of the actual, you know, consumption at this point. But the concept is pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Now, vent charges, I don't know that I know the answer to this yet, but I know she wants to charge for a vent. But I'm not sure how to do that just yet. For instance, if we have a line of people lined up to this cart, and each one of them has a different size, a 6 ounce, an 8 ounce, a 10 ounce, a 12 ounce, a 16 ounce, and they all hit this thing. Each one is a VEN, and it counts the number of ounces, but how does she charge that person? Is it going to say how many VINs were at 10 ounces, how many VINs were at 12 ounces or something? I'm not sure how to
Is she
do
gonna
that.
be charging the students or the school?
I think that the school is going to pay for
Because
this.
if the school's gonna pay, they'll probably just pay for an overall ounces payment, right?
That may be.
Yeah.
But she has other uses for this too, so this is an answer I don't have yet, and we
Okay.
will find that out from her, and I think we want to collect some information. For instance, let's say between 12 noon and 1 o'clock, how many VINs did I have, regardless of the ounces? And then between 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, how many VINs did, this will be for some marketing things, I guess. So we already are collecting this information, I think, so we basically need to put it in some kind of a readable thing.
I would think the volume needs to be tracked in terms of what's been dispensed.
Exactly,
You know,
yeah, that does.
Somehow we gotta track that.
Yeah, like
in the
in a
control,
day,
yeah.
like from 12:01 a.m.
Exactly.
to midnight, I vended 36 gallons, okay? So that's how I'm gonna charge. So it'll be something like that, okay? Now each nozzle, the way we're doing this now, and let me explain this, because the way we're doing this is if you like go from McDonald's or Jack in the Box, you go up to your drink station and it's got this box. It's got this little black box and it has a thing that comes down like this. And it's got a nozzle that looks like this. And you hit this little thing, and actually the one we're getting is mechanical. It's not electric. But we need to send an electric signal. So basically what we're thinking about doing is putting a small micro switch in there and just, putting 2 wires and have this lever actually activate the micro switch and send a signal. So that'll be a mechanic, just be a switch closure. So we'll have to put power to it and then put it back. So that every time it vents, this will mechanically open the valve, but it'll also send a signal to the PLC or whatever box you say you need.
Well, that would be a good way to track from that signal to the
Yeah.
PLC how long the valve was open, and so we could do some sort of algorithm to calculate how much was actually dispensed.
Well, we'll probably do that with the flow sensor.
Yeah.
Because time, you have to know the exact flow if you're going to time it. So,
Right.
I don't know if we'll know that or not, even though it should be fairly consistent with our pump. We know exactly what our pump's going to pump. And so we've calculated how long the 16-ounce bottle should be there to fill it. But we'll probably put a flow sensor on there. I don't know. They make Gems makes them, or somebody makes a little flow sensor. And the flow on this is about 3 GPM. Now we may throttle that. I'm not sure yet how. We've calculated how long it will take to fill a bottle, but it may come out too fast. And we may have to put some restrictors in there or something. But I don't think so, because I think these things are aerated, so it probably will come out in a pretty good stream. So there'll be 2 of these that are independent, valve 1 and valve 2.
Does she have the bottles in mind already, did you tell me?
She does.
Okay.
And darn it, I don't have any here. They're over at the other office. I wish they're collapsible bottles that you pull apart. She thinks these students are all going to carry it around with her. Good luck on that one.
I foresee a bottle dispenser attached to the side of this thing.
Well, actually, if you see this door right here,
Yeah.
that's a compartment in there that's going to have bottles for sale. They're going to store these little collapsible bottles. I wish I had one I could show you. I don't like them, but anyway, she's
Like
so.
accordion things. That go
They're really accordion, but you have to pull it out by the neck. And what I found is it wants to pull the neck off. It wants to pull the cap off the neck because they're real hard to pull. And I can just see these 5th graders walking around with that thing in their pocket. I don't know.
It's like a bacteria breeding ground.
Yeah, exactly. Well, their whole concept is, Canada now is on a bottle quest. There are whole cities where you're not allowed to have a bottle of water. fact,
Really?
all the universities in Canada, you're not allowed to carry a plastic bottle on campus. So this stuff's coming, okay, to get rid of these bottles. So legislation's probably coming at some time. So that's where she's coming from on this, is to save the
She
bottles.
sees it coming,
She sees it coming.
yeah.
And I think Calgary, you're not allowed to have a bottle.
They can have my water bottle when they pry it from my coat.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's reusable when they're after. It's
Yeah, right.
You
It's
know, these plastic bottles that,
The disposable,
disposable ones,
Yeah.
yeah. So basically, that's the concept behind all this, is to save the bottle. So we already talked about the daily start and daily finish time. Did we? Did we explain that?
Start, finish. We didn't go into that yet.
Well, what is that? Is that what that is?
Just what we were discussing, you know, we were saying, well, sometimes the parameters come out where every item that's being tracked, like on your phone calls, you can say, okay, mom called at 5:03 p.m. and then I stopped talking to her 2 minutes later, you know, refresh my memory from 2 days ago or whatever. We were talking about, well, that might be too many parameters, having every single time tracked, but then in some of these programs, you could make that an expanded item. You could look at that if you wanted to, but all they really need to see is the start time each day. The first vend happened, and then the last vend. Last vend at 11:10 p.m. and then there was nothing again until 5 a.m.
Like you could, yeah, basically timestamp every transaction, but then just aggregate it for the immediate view.
Yeah, that would be useful information, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've pretty much covered everything. But this is a real project. She's funding it, and we are building it. So
Yeah, and you get a great overview, because
This is very good, very concise.